Christian Parenting.
Welcome to the Christian Parenting Podcast. I'm your host, Steph Thurling. I'm the Executive Director of Christian Parenting, a mom of 3, and I am so glad that you're here. This is a place where you can bring your real self, no matter what that looks like today, and be given the space, resources, and encouragement you need to set aside perfection and grow into the perfectly imperfect parent God made you to be. Hey friends, welcome to the Christian Parenting Podcast. Today I am talking with Emily Ley. So Emily is the founder of Simplified, which is a brand of planners and home organizational tools for busy women. And she is also the best-selling author of 9 books, a wife, and a mother of 3. She recently wrote a devotional called Sure as the Sunrise, 100 morning meditations on God's mercy and delight. Through this devotional, Emily shares the importance of creating a morning routine and the importance of celebrating God's unchanging and unfailing love. And today we get to talk to her all about that book. So I admit this is not my strength, and I'm really excited to hear what Emily has to share with us about creating strong morning rhythms, and I think that you're going to too. Hi, Emily. Welcome to the Christian Parenting Podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I am so excited to have you here today. I think we're going to have a really great conversation about morning time and your new devotional. So I'm excited to jump into that. But before we do that, I have 2 questions that I'm going to ask you. So the first is, can you tell us about your family? Just for people who don't know you or who your family is, can you tell us about who you live with and describe them in like a word or a phrase?
Yes. So I am married to Brian. We've been married for almost 15 years. And we have 3 kids. Brady is 11 years old, almost 12, just bananas. And I also have twins who are 7, and they're almost 8. If I had to describe my family in a word or phrase, big, loving personalities. Brian and I always laugh that we thought for sure God would give us one wallflower kid, like the shy, quiet one. He did not. We don't have any of those. So our house is a loud one. We also have a dog. We just got a dog about almost a year ago named Walter. He's wild as well.
Puppy. Is she a puppy?
Yep. We got him in February. And so he's a little over a year old, but we're still deep in the puppy trenches. Yes.
I feel like it takes 2.5 years.
I think so. He chews table legs and all kinds of fun things. So
perfect.
He's really in here with me.
Yeah. I love that. Our kids are the same ages. We have 10, 8, and almost 7, and they have some big personalities too.
I love it. It's funny. I literally thought I was going to have little kids forever. That season just seemed to last years and years and years and years, 20 at least. And somehow now we have big kids and they're at school and they have their own interests, and I'm parenting. I mean, almost like a tween, which is kind of crazy, but so fun. It's parenting big kids. It's so different.
It is really different. I really like this phase, but it feels different. Definitely. Yeah. There's a change in how you parent and what your kids are doing and what your schedule looks like. Nothing revolves around nap time anymore.
No. And that lasted a really long time. I remember as an entrepreneur, I started my company 15 years ago, and everything revolved around nap time. And there were seasons where we had absolutely no help with the kids. And now they just go to school and I have all day.
Yeah, definitely a different season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm also asking everyone, what is one thing that you want parents to know?
Grace is a real thing. Mm-hmm. My very first book I ever wrote was called Grace, Not Perfection. And that is a phrase that I have carried with me from the time my oldest was tiny and I was trying to do everything and do it all perfectly. And I really felt like everyone else had it all together. And I was the only one that was really struggling to balance work and life and motherhood and being a wife. And that's not the case. And really accepting grace in my life and allowing it to be a different standard has been and is life-changing for sure.
I think so many parents struggle with that throughout parenthood. I still struggle with that, thinking everyone else has it way more put together. I'm the only one who's floundering.
Right.
Everyone else is perfect. I think everybody needs to hear that all the time. And a lot of people are sharing the same thing that you just said.
Oh, I love that.
Which is, so like that's clearly a message that parents need to hear.
For sure. Yeah, I know I do.
Yeah. So your first book, Grace Not Perfection, it's a trade book. You've done trade books, you've done planners. I mean, you do so many things and you do it all really well, but this is your first devotional.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what was your heart behind writing a devotional? Why did you decide to do that now?
Well, it's funny. Before this one, I've written 8 books, and they all kind of enveloped this idea of helping women who are going through the thick of it, whether it's, as a businesswoman or as a wife or as a mother, this idea of dealing with perfectionism and all of this stuff. And I've always really enjoyed writing in short form. So like really bite-sized nuggets of writing. And it was during COVID in spring 2020 when I was trying to keep a business afloat. I mean, we made planners. We make planners. And that was when everyone's plans got canceled. So it was really scary as an entrepreneur. Yeah. I had kids who, all 3 of them were home from school, and we were trying to do virtual school, and we were scared for our parents and their health. And so everything just felt like it was coming unglued. And I was trying to be the rock and be the steady, consistent thing throughout it all. And every single day, we live on Pensacola Bay, and every single day I would walk out of my bedroom and look out at the bay and see the sunrise. And it was like this weird, I didn't mean for it to be a ritual, but it kind of just became one. Like I would stand there and look at the sunrise and think, okay, we're going to do it all again. It's like Groundhog's Day. And eventually I started standing there and looking at the sunrise and thinking, I don't have to be the consistent thing. Like God is the steady. He is the consistency. He's never changing. He brings the sun up every single day, just like he did in the very beginning, with the same enthusiasm as that very first day. And that knowledge was so important to me through that time where everything else felt like it was scary and changing. I wanted to write something that kind of brought that peace that I felt to other people over and over and over again. And so Sure as the Sunrise is a study of God's mercy and delight. So
I have to tell you that when I told my husband I was going to do this interview, he laughed because I am notoriously not a morning person. However,
I get it.
I want to be. I really want to be a morning person.
Yeah.
And I'm not really a night owl either. I just... I don't know what I am.
I'm just like you.
I do like sleeping a lot, but I think I'm just like a midday person. Like that is my time.
Yeah.
But I'm becoming more of a morning person in this season of parenting when my kids are a little bit older. I love that quiet time before they get up.
Yeah.
But I've talked to a lot of women over the years in so many different phases of parenting. And I just think it's so important to recognize that routines and needs change as parenting changes, and your morning time isn't going to look the same when you have like a newborn and a toddler, or for you, 2 newborns and a toddler, compared to when your kids are in school or they're gone or whatever. So what does your morning time look like right now? And then how has it changed? Like, what did it look like during other seasons?
It's funny. I've had people ask me this question before and ask like, I just had a baby, and like, how do I create the perfect morning routine in this season? And I'm always like, you don't. This is not the season for that. Mm-hmm. Maybe you are having your quiet time or your alone time during nap time or whatever. But I mean, when I had 2 newborns and a 4-year-old, my mornings were anything but rhythmic and routine. I mean, we woke up when they decided to wake up, and it was usually at the crack of dawn. And you do your best to kind of implement some sort of rhythm into that. But in this season that I'm in now with older kids, it's so much easier. I do my very best to wake up before they do. I'm not perfect at it, but I do my best to get up before them and give myself at least a couple minutes to center myself on truth that isn't going to change. Mm-hmm. I'm a bath person. Like I love to take a bath in the mornings, which my husband makes fun of me. But I feel like
a lot of people do that.
I always
do. I'm learning that more and more people like that in the morning.
Yeah, like it's my couple of minutes all to myself. And then I get up and get ready for the day. I try to drink a cup of coffee and then get a workout in as many days as I can. But, carving out just those few minutes before everyone else comes downstairs and the craziness of the day gets started, the days that I'm able to do it, it really makes a difference. It really, there's that quote, I forget who said it, but the way you start your day determines your day. And it's really true. Like the way that your morning goes, it really plays out through the rest of the day also.
Yeah, I find that too. I mean, the days that I'm good about getting up, and I don't necessarily do my Bible reading right away in the morning, but I at least have some prayer time where I'm just sipping on my coffee and it's quiet and it's dark. And I'm just so much more patient with my kids because I've had that time. Like it really makes a difference.
Yeah, it really does. And, there are busy seasons where, we have a million things going on where that doesn't happen. But I think just carving out a couple of minutes in the day, whether it's in the middle of the day or even after everybody goes to bed, just for you to check in with yourself and reflect on things, it's really important.
I think that's really encouraging too, that you're just kind of emphasizing just a few minutes. Like, I think people get this idea that a morning time needs to be like half an hour to an hour of prayer journaling and a devotional and all of these things, and it's like
wishful thinking.
Right, that is wishful thinking. But some people are really good at that. I do know people who are very consistent with that and that works for them. But I think there's a lot of freedom in knowing that, like, God is not setting an alarm clock for you. He is not setting a timer for you. He just wants to meet with you. And it may, in certain seasons, just be a few minutes.
Yeah. And I think too, at least I've learned over the years, that those small habits, like the really tiny things that you do that may only last a couple of minutes, but you do them day after day after day and you don't forget, that kind of consistency is what brings change to your life. Not the big, grand transformations. That's kind of, Sure as the Sunrise opens kind of with that philosophy, if you will, that I love a fresh start. I love a great big transformation. But a lot of times, if we're looking for change in our life or we're looking for a fresh start, what matters is implementing those little bitty things. So 5 minutes, reading a 2-paragraph devotion, having just those couple of minutes to yourself. That's the kind of stuff that really makes a big difference.
Yeah, because so many people are looking for the big change. January 1st, we're going to do the thing. My life's going to be different.
We grew up in the age of extreme home makeover. So we want that 60-minute, start to finish. Everything's different. It's all fresh and brand new. And it's not realistic for literally anything. So, yeah.
That is a really good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I like that. So as morning times changed and parenting has changed, your business has changed a lot over the years. Like, it has grown a ton. I'm sure that's been a surprise to you at times and exciting. But how has God remained faithful? Because I feel like sure as the sunrise, kind of what you shared before. I mean, that just is really emphasizing that God is sure as the sunrise. He is faithful. So how has that played out in your life? As a working mom, 2 of my goals for the new year are to take better care of myself and simplify. And one of the ways I'm doing that is with HelloFresh. There's a reason HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. They make it so simple. All I have to do is pick my meals and my delivery date, and all of the pre-portioned ingredients and step-by-step instructions come right to my door. That means less hassle, less wasted food, and they have health-forward options like over 30 calorie-smart and protein-smart recipes each week. The recipe cards are easy to follow and they're full of pictures, so it makes cooking with my kids really fun too. And we all know that when they are involved in the cooking, they're more likely to eat it, so everyone wins. We have a great deal for you right now because I know that mornings can be crazy as a parent. I often find myself forgetting breakfast or grabbing something really fast. But you can go to hellofresh.com/CPPodcastFree and use the code CPPodcastFree for free breakfast for life. That's 1 breakfast item per box while the subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at hellofresh.com/CPPodcastFree with the code CPPodcastFree.
Over the years, when I started Simplified, I started it as a paper goods company. And I was working full-time in university advancement and had a master's degree and was climbing that ladder. And I started it so that I could eventually, hopefully, be a stay-at-home mom who brought in some income for our family. It was never the goal to create a business, a big business. It was always the goal for me to have the flexibility. My mom was a teacher, and I knew I wasn't born with that spiritual gift, but I wanted the ability to have the flexibility to be the room mom if I wanted, or go volunteer or whatever. Not be in a chair 40 hours a week or 60 like I was doing. And so over the years, like I can remember when, the Simplified planner just kept selling out over and over and over again one year. And I would have to stay up so late and do, so much work and sacrifice certain things in that season of life. And then I can remember when we went wholesale and we were in 800 stores, and then we cut that back and ended up in Target and Walmart. All these things happened. And it was like this ebb and flow of eventually you get to, you work really hard and you get to a place of burnout where God, every single time this has happened to me, and it's like every 3 years that it happens, He will bring me right back to why in the world did you start this in the first place? And I don't care how big you are or how many stores you're in or whatever. That doesn't matter. Like, why in the world did you start this in the first place? And are you extending that same grace to the women who work with you? Are you doing that for your family? That do you have the flexibility to be the mom you wanted to be? Because that was the point. And so I feel like He is that like truth in my heart that just, I always come back to it. I always come back to it. And whenever things start to feel off kilter, it's because that's not working. And I have to make changes for that. And that's looked like a lot of different changes over the years. But I am so grateful that like He's like a magnet. Like I feel like He just brings me back because my ambition can get away from me sometimes.
What do you do when you're feeling that pull? Like when you're feeling God speak to you and be like, you need to make a change?
It usually means I have to start saying no more. It like, for instance, this fall, couple months ago, I was really in the thick of it and just really overwhelmed. And I had one book had just come out. I had this one coming out. I had another one that was due for next year. And I decided, you know what? I have never taken a sabbatical. Like I've never taken weeks away from work and social media and everything to like really refill my cup. And so on the drastic end of what do you do, I scheduled 8 weeks next spring to take completely off. And just be a mom. Just
good for you.
Do my mom stuff February and March of next year. Kind of putting the pieces into place now, but that's on the drastic end. What else? What do I usually do? It usually looks like taking time away from distractions, like taking a weekend or a couple of days off of social media, away from my inbox, just putting up an out of office. And I will usually get a piece of poster board out and a Sharpie and just get all the things that are in my head out of my head so that I can sort through them and figure out what my priorities are, what needs to get done. And it's just a recentering, I feel like. When you get overwhelmed like that, it's usually because you're going in too many directions too quickly,
Yes, I do know.
Yeah.
On a very personal level. But I love it. I feel like I'm like, okay, I need to go get a poster board out. Like, I hear you. I'm feeling convicted. I'm going to like tape it up on my wall.
I know.
I think that's a really practical way of doing it. I think that's smart.
It really is.
A notebook by your bed.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're able to just get it all out of your head, it just makes space. And it kind of helps you, I don't know, like I'm an organizer. So I like to like see the mess and figure out how I'm going to compartmentalize it and what needs to happen in what order. And so I don't know, it's probably my controlling way of getting a handle on things. But usually when things start to get overwhelming, it's because I've overcommitted. So, which is, I love my job and I love being ambitious and doing things. But sometimes I feel like God is pulling me back,
I do know.
Yeah.
I feel like no is so hard to say.
Yeah.
Like for anyone, even if it's not for work or, just social events, it's just so hard to create boundaries and say, like, what's my best yes and what is not going to serve me and my family and my main priority as well. I think we're always learning how to do that.
Yeah.
Because then we get good at it and then we don't. We have to do it again. Get the poster board out.
You get the poster board out. Whenever my husband sees the poster board come out, he's like, here we go.
Here we go. Buckle up. We're making some changes.
That's right. Buckle up.
That's good. So if people are feeling kind of stuck, like, okay, maybe I need to make some changes. Maybe I've been in this season of really little kids and I'm feeling the nudge to get going on a morning time routine, or just they need something in their life to focus on the consistency of God. Like, how can we really practical for a minute? Like, what can parents do to focus on God in the mornings instead of the craziness that morning is?
Yeah, I think you have to really get super tactical and like make a list, write it down of what your ideal morning looks like. And I say ideal because it's not going to happen every day. But if ideally and realistically, what does it look like? What time are you setting your alarm for? How many times are you allowed to press snooze? Like, where are you going to sit when you read your devotional or when you have your quiet time in the morning? Kind of like putting pen to paper in that way and having that list in front of you, like tape it to your bathroom mirror. I actually have the reminders app on my phone. I made a template for every day, like the 6 little taking my vitamins, like the things I want to just be consistent at, making that something tactical, a list that's tactical. It helps you implement it as a routine. And then the more you do it, it becomes like habit.
Yeah, I need a list for my vitamins.
Yeah, I know, right?
So what is on your list? You have take your vitamins. Okay,
let me remember how this goes. Take my vitamins, move my body, whether that's like walking the dog or actually like working out. Taking my allergy medicine because I always forget and I always pay the price when I don't do it. Spending a little bit of quiet time just reading or journaling or, reading a devotion or something like that. Putting my phone away in my closet by 7 at night. That's something I started earlier this year, and I bought a charger just for my closet and I put it away in there. I don't use it as my alarm anymore. And then trying to get to bed by 9. I'm an early bird and not a night owl. So I like to go to bed early. So yeah, that's what's on my list.
Those are really easy things too. Like they're not, and it's just 6 of them. And you could even start with 1.
You could totally
master the vitamins.
Master the vitamins. Oh, drinking water. So like drinking 2 big things of water every day. That's my other one. But like, when I'm consistent with those things, I can tell a difference. Like it really does make a difference. And they don't have to be like notice I didn't put on there, like work out for an hour every single day,
right? Run
6 miles or whatever. Like it's tactical, easy, realistic things.
Yeah. Cause I think you can always build on to things, right? Like, my brother-in-law just reminded me of that because I was like, I really want to get back into running. He and I both ran cross country in like high school together. So he's a runner, I'm a runner. Like, I just want to get into running. And he just reminded me, he's like, I've started running 2.5 miles a day. Yeah. And that's it. I'm like, okay, I can do 2 miles a day. Like I can, and I haven't quite been consistent yet, but I'm like, in my head, I'm just so guilty of being like, I'm going to start running again and I'm going to train for a half marathon.
Oh yeah, me too.
That's just like not the goal you need to have. Like start small and add on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like when we, there have been times in my life where I'm like, I am going to clean up our diets around here. And like, we're going to eat super healthy, no sugar, no processed food, everything organic. And then like, I mean, that's just a recipe for pizza ordered, like where you just give up. So I think taking it like one little thing at a time, it really does make a difference.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just hearing so much of just small habits.
Yeah.
Small habits. And God will meet you there.
Yeah. Atomic Habits. Have you ever read it by James Clear?
Do you want to know something really funny that I think really sums me up as a person? I've been reading that book for a year.
It's so good.
I just haven't finished it yet. Probably because I'm reading so many books. I read a lot of books at a time. Yeah. So but I told someone else that and they're like, I think the book would tell you to finish. You're probably right. It is good. And it is, I mean, it says the same thing, start small. Yeah. And there are parts of it that I have implemented, but I think just the reminder that God will meet you there. Like it doesn't, God doesn't meet you in the big. He meets you exactly where you need him to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know I have a lot of growth in this area. Like I need to be better at it. So I feel encouraged that it can be smaller. I think it's just like the daily reminder of that too. I'm going to start setting something on my phone.
Yeah. And you can say,
and I love that you put your phone away.
Yeah. That, by the way, that is probably the best habit that I have implemented this whole year. It's really, if work and social media and email and the constant distraction of notifications are a stressor for you, like they are for me, putting your phone away at 7:00 and knowing that like the world's not going to burn down without you, it really does a lot for your mental health, at least for me.
Yeah. Well, for your evening mental health. And I feel like also it would just help me so much in that morning time, those few minutes that I am spending quietly with my coffee, not to reach for that first.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like grab your Bible, grab your devotional and read a little thing first instead of your phone, but you have to put it away. And I'm really bad at that. So I appreciate that reminder.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I could talk to you a long time about all these little habits and devotionals and quiet time. So thank you for sharing with us. Before we go, can you tell us like where we can find your book? Yeah. You said you're writing another one. So tell us about that. And then tell us where we can connect with you.
Well, you can find me on all the social media places at Emily Ley. And you can find our shop at emilyley.com. And then the book, you can find it all the book places where you buy books.
I'll link all of that stuff too.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. But I actually, when I wrote Sure as the Sunrise, I knew that it was going to be a 100-day devotional, but like my brain couldn't stop. And so I wrote a second devotional. So there is another one coming next year that's going to be like a sister to this one.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So if we finish this one in our 100 days, we can wait for the next.
That's right. October 17th next year. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. You already have a date.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. That's so great. We'll keep an lookout for that too. Absolutely.
Hey.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate your time today. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Thank you. I'm so glad we got to have that conversation. It was really fun to talk with Emily, and I hope that you go pick up a copy of her book. If you don't already follow Emily, go connect with her now. She is just such a blessing, and I'm going to go and move my phone charger away from my bed, and I'm going to make a list of morning tasks for tomorrow. And I hope that you're also feeling inspired to make just 1 or 2 small changes to your routine. Thank you so much for listening to the Christian Parenting Podcast. I hope you have a wonderful week. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and may you see signs of his steady faithfulness all around you today. Thank you so much for listening to the Christian Parenting Podcast. If you haven't subscribed, you can do that now, and that way you won't miss an episode. You can connect with us on Instagram at ChristianParenting_org and see more resources at ChristianParenting.org. And if you're a mom raising daughters, we have the perfect course for you. Visit cpguides.org to learn more about our Helping Moms Raise Confident Daughters online courses. And lastly, if you have enjoyed this podcast or other Christian parenting resources, please consider donating to this ministry. Visit christianparenting.org and click the donate button. Christian Parenting is 100% donor funded, and none of this would be possible without your help. We are so grateful for you. You're amazing. God bless you.